Hello,
Welcome
Oh, yeah, you go.
to another episode of Laser Ducks. Today we're doing something a little bit different, as you can see.
Yes. It is just a normal episode of Laser Ducks. However, we are going to be doing some Minecraft parkour while we discuss the podcast topic for this episode. So if you don't like Minecraft, then that's okay. Just take it as an audio episode and don't look at the screen. But if you do, you can watch us do really bad on some parkours here. Yeah, anyways, our topic for today. Oh, by the way, this map is Skittles by. Doesn't give the person who made it. Okay, it's called Skittles. It's on the server Jumpcraft. Our podcast topic for today is Daniel.
I've forgotten already. How have I done?
It's simulation.
Simulation. Are we in a simulation? Also, may
yeah.
I preface this episode by just saying it is quarantine time.
Yeah.
Everything's gone crazy, and so that is why we're not just doing a normal episode, because we're not actually together.
Yeah.
And so we decided that even though we'd do something a bit different, just because, why not try it out? And also, the audio is not going to be quite so good on my end because I'm just using a head mic. Anyway,
it'll be good on my end, but
yeah, exactly.
but not on Daniel's. Yeah, we're doing it over Discord. Okay, so I thought that it'd be cool if we discussed this idea of whether or not we're in a simulation while we played Minecraft, because we're in a simulation right now as we play Minecraft.
Yeah, no, it's a totally, I was just saying this earlier as we were talking about what we were going to talk about, that it's something that people have been fascinated about for ages, right? Matrix was one of the biggest movies of all time, and probably a lot to do with
one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually never watched it.
You haven't watched?
No.
You told me that we need to do a Matrix marathon, because there's three.
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of them, right?
There's three.
Three, okay. But it's a great kind of favorite, right? Everybody loves it, and I think that's largely to do with the subject base, that people are super interested by the whole concept of simulation. What if teleportation?
To learn about teleportation, look at our first. Look at the first episode of our podcast. It's on our channel.
In the link below.
Yes, by the way, before we get into the real meat of the podcast, I would like to say, and by the way, I have an argument for why we might be in a simulation. Indeed. So,
more than I have. Before
we get into that, I'd like to say, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. It's free. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. We don't have many subscribers yet on this channel, so we're hoping to get some more.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
So that we can bring you...
So we can keep doing it.
So we can keep doing the podcast, so that we can keep pleasing you, as if you're pleased by our discussions.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So yeah, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Please, share with your friends and family. That also helps us. Okay. So, simulation. So,
You started off.
kind of was inspired by this, by a video. I can't remember exactly who made this video, but they presented a cool argument, which I have kind of carried with me for years. Not necessarily believing it to the fullest, but just having it as a kind of an interesting conversation piece. Oh my goodness. Oh, by the way, I am this one. You're looking at my screen, and I'm Isaiah, and Daniel is the duck there for Laser Ducks. Sorry, I don't have a thematic skin. He does. I wish I did as well. So here's the argument. I watched this in a video, and I can't remember the name of the channel, which I apologize to this channel, but they presented this animated video explaining this very interesting concept, and I feel like I've heard Neil deGrasse Tyson mention this as well, and it's this. So, right now, in our reality, we're making video games like this one and other ones that are simulating reality. Now, this game doesn't look very realistic, but if I had texture packs and shaders turned on, it would look extremely photorealistic, and it looks really cool, but unfortunately it slows down my computer too much, so I won't do that right now. But this game could look extremely photorealistic, but other than that, the physics in this game are pretty realistic, and there are other games that are even better simulations of reality. But here's the thing.
Yeah, they just released a game called it's Half-Life. I think it's called Ajax. No, that's a football team. It's something like that, but it's a VR game, and it's I've never seen a game more realistic in my whole life. Like
Oh,
it's
nice.
the most insane thing. And so that was only a couple days ago, right? And it's things are
Yeah.
you know
Hey, and you've
getting
got
a little crazy
yeah,
graphics wise.
yeah, graphics and simulations of reality are getting more and more realistic. I don't know games. I don't know that many games that are that VR chat. But I mean,
Yeah,
VR chat
oh
is
yeah,
kind of an
super
example.
realistic.
But the thing is, VR chat is kind of an example of how you can kind of have a simulated society and reality, like people walking around,
Yeah, yeah.
sort of in a physical way, and communicating with each other in a similar way that we do in real life. Pretty cool. Games like Rust, which kind of simulate the survival aspect of the wilderness, which Minecraft does as well in the survival mode. But
Yeah.
basically, here's the deal. These games, these simulations, they're getting better and better, right? Eventually, we would get to a point where the simulation of reality, probably in game form or something, is so good that you can't tell the difference between that and real life, right? Would you agree that we would get to a point where it would be like that? We would have a simulation of reality that's pretty much completely accurate.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, having said that, I don't know. I feel like if we continue on this line of growth, right, within my lifetime, we've gone from. I'm trying to think about a game that came out.
Like the Nintendo games like the Nintendo 64 were
Like,
around
yeah,
when we were little
exactly.
kids. Like
You got Pokemon, and now we have this
Yeah.
insane like Half-Life, which
yeah,
is just
some of the first
basically real
Pokemon's
life.
coming out around when we were born, and now you've got insane graphics.
So if we keep going on this kind of like path, you'd expect that eventually you just have real life, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is
Oh, I made it super high and then I felt.
the
Okay.
problem is that as human beings, I feel like it's difficult to like we can't even get cameras to fully capture what we see, right? Like you can get it pretty close, but there's always like that extent to which it's like there's nothing like really seeing something. And so I
Yeah.
feel like there's the what do you call that in movies and things that it has a name. It's called the something valley, the uncanny valley,
Oh yeah, yeah.
where like if you eventually your brain's like, wait a second, something's wrong here. And so I think the same would happen like if you were in VR because you'd continually be reminding yourself that you're not actually in real life.
Yeah, but I'm saying on a kind of on an outer level as far as looks and feeling in our six senses. You could, yeah, most people say something like that like, oh, you're always going to be able to tell that it's not reality. There'll always be something that'll tell you that because you can never be
Yeah.
completely there. But the thing is you can always say, okay, but then how about 100 years, 200 years after that?
Exactly. It just keeps going, and eventually
Yeah.
somebody works out how to. And the other thing would be like, what you can easily like, yeah, in the Matrix they drug people, right? And then it's like at that point you can mess with people's minds anyway, in a different way. Like just yeah, it stops being. It doesn't even have to be that the graphics or the I don't know the way they make it feel is particularly good. It's just that they've affected your body so that your body thinks that it's real instead of making it like
Yeah.
yeah
Well, your
like
brain.
there you go, yeah, your brain, but like
Your sensory
instead of
receptors
doing
or whatever.
exactly, yeah, blocking stuff or adding stuff or doing something so that it's you stop being skeptical of it and it just becomes like, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So, here's the idea. Is that eventually we will get to that point where a simulation is basically just another reality but made out of code, but you won't even be able to tell that from the inside of the
Like in
simulation.
like in what's it called? What's that? Ready Player One.
Yeah.
It just becomes like the other world, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can have your personality in the real world, and then you also have.
So, here's the argument. The idea is if that's possible, and even like and as well, this would be included like physics is properly simulated and all that kind of stuff. Then eventually, in that now you've basically made a whole new world, or even like a universe, maybe even just a world of like a whole other world, just basically contained inside your world, right? But now you have this whole other world. So in that world, eventually there's going to be people in that world, maybe even simulated people that think they're real people, and eventually they're going to get to the point in their world where they have a simulation.
But what would be? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that like, I don't like for this all to be true, right? For us to be in a simulation, I would have had to be born in this other world or in some other way, and then immediately hooked into the system.
Or you could be
And then,
virtual.
as in, like, I'm just not. Oh,
You're an
that's
NPC.
another level.
You're an NPC.
But then, but then we go to like Rene Descartes, where it's like, I think, therefore I am, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, for me, because I believe that I think, I would say that I am. But then you could say, well, of course you would say that because you've been programmed to say that. So it's like,
even then, even if
it's 100% individual.
Even
actually,
but even if you can think, you could also say it like this. Well, AI will eventually get to the point where it thinks, or it thinks that it can think. You know, so you could be AI. But here's the argument though. So you have the simulation, and inside that simulation, eventually there's going to be a completely accurate simulation, and then eventually in that simulation there's going to be a completely accurate simulation.
And it just layers.
It keeps going forever. But here's the thing, is that theoretically in any timeline of any universe where there's intelligent beings like us or like any kind of aliens, there's going to be all these different simulations inside of each other, and there's only going to be one reality. So in our Earth reality, Earth 1 as it's called in Marvel, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think it has some stupid numbers like 450.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, exactly.
In this world, eventually there's going to be this long infinite chain of simulations. So how do we know that we are the original world and not one of these simulations that have come out of the original world and other simulations? Because here's the thing. It's basically one, because there's only one original, and then how many simulations? Theoretically infinite. So basically 1 over infinite, or who knows, just a super high number, chance that we are the real world.
Yeah, exactly. It continues.
Yeah, like, you cut out there, but that's fine. It continues, and the odds that we are the original one are much lower, theoretically, than the odds that we are one of the simulations that have come out.
Yeah, 100%. Super weird, super interesting.
So that's the idea, and it's silly, but there's at the same time it's something to be talked about. But you know, we're not going to live our lives going around like, oh, we're in a simulation, because there's no point.
Well, and even if we were, that would just be life.
It wouldn't matter. Yeah, it wouldn't matter. But it's something kind of eerie to think about. Maybe not eerie because. If we are in a simulation, that's just we're here and that's just.
Well, it's a pretty sucky simulation. Think about video games. How cool would it be if we could have like jetpacks and like grappling hooks that could just like pull you? Nah, but you know what I mean is that we can think up all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, but the idea is the thing is video games. That's what makes video games unrealistic. The thing is this simulation is so realistic that we don't even have these
that would just be. Oh, true. Actually, now that I think of it. Anyway, okay, well, then I'll go into this then.
No,
so
I thought there was a ladder there. Okay.
So, but if we lived in a world where it was normal for you to be able to breathe fire, let's say, then that would be realistic. And if we couldn't breathe fire, that'd be really weird. Like, what? That's just like how you do it. And so, but then it would no longer be a cool thing. And you'd have to have more extreme things in your fake video game, in your virtual, I don't know, video games. It gets so deep eventually. Yeah. Inside itself.
We can breathe fire, but like all these things that we can do in video games, we can usually basically do them in real life, just not to the freedom that you can do them in video games.
Yeah.
Like you can't use a grappling hook like Batman can. Like there are grappling hooks and grappling hooks guns, like the Hacksmith made a grappling hook.
Yeah, gun. I saw that one. Yeah.
And he makes all kinds of things like that. So you can make them and they're out there, but just in movies and stuff, they're portrayed as being super easy to use, when in reality, they're not going to be very convenient to use because it's like there's so much engineering that has to go into it, and it's not going to be a very good, very refined technology.
When you're fighting with physics at that point, it's like, trying to keep your body held up by just a piece of string, basically.
Yeah, and when Batman uses his grappling hook gun, it's like a tiny little pistol, and there's 100 meters of cord in the pistol.
It just keeps going.
And not only that, cord that's going to hold his entire weight.
Yeah, and he's huge.
Consistently, yeah. He weighs like...
He's like, in the thing it said that he's like the peak of human health. Yeah, exactly. Like the strongest human being of all time.
Yeah. So he must weigh like... I mean, he's not like a strong man. Like, he's not going to be like a giant guy, but he's just like the most fit guy that you've ever seen.
And that would come with like weight to it.
Yeah,
But
but it would also come with like lightness because he's not going to be like these giant guys that are like the Mr. Universe and that kind of thing. Because then he's not going to be very light, and he needs to be light to fight.
So that he can get
Bane. And the Joker.
Anyway, getting back to whether we're in a simulation. Simulation. It's just it's such an interesting, like, complicated thing to even begin to think about, and it's like I was saying before, it's also just not, actually got. It's a fun thought experiment, but it's not worth the kind of like the time of day to think about unless just out of fun, because suddenly you start being like paranoid about something that doesn't actually matter because you're in it, and so like there's probably nothing better. And actually, the only reason that I would assume that our ancestors would have put us into a simulation is because the real world is messed up.
Yeah. But the thing is,
so it's like,
in our reality, if we made a simulation that was super realistic and we can put like NPCs in it, like super complex AI characters in the game,
yeah,
I bet we would.
I think we would make it, but I think we'd make it like SAO, where it's like optional, or like people mess around and make it like forced, but then it's not actually where people want to stay.
Yeah.
Like I've always loved that show so much, just because it's such a cool idea.
Yeah, shout out to Sword Art Online.
Oh, it's so good.
If you like simulations, if you like this idea, go watch it. And The Matrix, if you haven't. I think most people have.
Yeah, great film. Wait.
If you haven't seen it, what do you mean great film?
Wait a second. I mean, it's got Keanu Reeves in it, right? It's got to be something.
Yeah. We definitely need to watch it soon.
We definitely need to make a whole episode about Keanu Reeves. That's what I was thinking.
That could be our next episode. All right, this is probably gonna do it.
Yeah.
For
just a little discussion.
This
a little
episode.
Quarantine discussion.
Let me check.
Hope you've enjoyed spending your quarantine with us. That'll be 10 toilet papers.
17 minutes of your quarantine with us. Well, this was good fun talking to you guys about simulation. If you guys have any comments about... Oh, sorry we didn't complete this parkour either. It's super difficult. It looks really easy.
It was just an eye pleaser.
Yeah. It looks pretty easy, but it's actually difficult. These corner jumps are killing me. We'll finish it eventually. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to Laser Ducks. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Tune in
and
for
comment on any... Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying random stuff. Yeah. Check out our other topics. If you're into this, you'll probably be into like teleportation and stuff and other scientific topics, which we talk about on our channel as well. What are you going to say, Daniel?
Definitely. I was just going to say, if you have any ideas about topics that you like us to talk about or anything like that, definitely just throw a topic in the comment section.
Yeah, if there's something you think we should know about or that we should talk about, drop it in the comments, either on SoundCloud or on YouTube, either way. And
yeah, it's super... Sometimes it's hard to come up with stuff, so it's nice to have ideas. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments on whether we're not in simulation, drop them in the comments as well. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.